In this compelling story, we dive into the heart-wrenching journey of Alex, a dedicated journalist, who uncovers a betrayal that shatters his world. Unveiling the Deception, a journey through the heartbreak of a cheating wife, takes you through the emotional turmoil and resilience of a man faced with the ultimate betrayal by his wife, Megan. Follow Alex as he navigates the complexities of love, trust, and revenge, and ultimately finds strength and a new beginning in the most unexpected places. Stay tuned as we explore this gripping tale of love, loss, and redemption. Alex had always believed that people cheated out of passion, a misguided but deeply felt need for connection or excitement. He never imagined that betrayal could be so coldly calculated, so devoid of any genuine emotion. Yet here he was, staring at the undeniable proof that his wife, Megan, had not only cheated on him but had done so for purely self-serving reasons. It had all started innocuously enough. One night, after a long day at work, Alex had returned home to find Megan sitting on the couch, her face lit by the glow of her laptop. She looked up briefly, gave him a distracted smile, and returned to whatever she was working on. He didn't think much of it. Megan was always busy with her work for Senator Blake, a rising star in the political arena. Their marriage had always been a blend of hectic schedules and late-night conversations about their respective careers. Alex worked as a journalist, a dream he'd harbored since he was a teenager. He still remembered the night his parents had rented All the President's Men, a film about the Watergate scandal. Watching Woodward and Bernstein uncover the secrets of the White House had ignited a fire in him. He wanted to be that kind of journalist, someone who could challenge the corrupt establishment and make a real difference in the world. This ambition had driven him to apply to New York University's School of Journalism. Getting into NYU had been no small feat. Through a combination of excellent grades, a well-written application, and a substantial student loan, Alex managed to secure his spot. NYU provided him with a top-notch education, connections in the media industry, and, most importantly, it was where he met Megan. Megan had been a political science major, and their paths first crossed in a comparative politics class during their junior year. She was everything Alex admired: intelligent, articulate, ambitious, and stunningly beautiful. Their initial friendship quickly blossomed into a deep, passionate relationship. They spent countless nights debating political theories, discussing the latest news, and dreaming about their future. By their senior year, Alex and Megan were inseparable. They got engaged just before graduation and made plans to move to New York City, where both had secured jobs. Alex was hired by a local newspaper, not as an investigative reporter as he had hoped, but as an assistant copy editor and fact-checker. Megan, on the other hand, landed a prestigious position as an aide to Senator Blake, thanks to a family friend who was close to the senator. Despite their modest beginnings, Alex and Megan were deeply in love and filled with optimism. They rented a small, walk-up apartment in Brooklyn, far from luxurious but perfect for a young couple starting their lives together. The future seemed bright. However, the reality of their new life soon began to set in. Alex found his job unfulfilling. Correcting other people's writing didn't satisfy his ambitions of becoming an investigative journalist. He often felt like he was treading water, hoping for a better opportunity to come along. Meanwhile, Megan thrived in her role. She was charismatic and quickly became an integral part of Senator Blake's team, often working late hours and attending numerous political events. Their differing career trajectories started to strain their relationship. Megan's enthusiasm for her job and her increasing involvement in high-profile political circles left Alex feeling sidelined. He couldn't help but notice how much Megan idolized Senator Blake, often talking about his vision, his charisma, and the potential he had to reshape American politics. Alex tried to be supportive, but he couldn't shake off a growing sense of inadequacy and jealousy. The turning point came one evening when Alex was called into his boss's office. Mr. Harris, the gruff but fair editor-in-chief, sat him down and handed him a document. "It states here that you possess writing skills," Mr. Harris said, looking at Alex over his reading glasses. "Is that accurate?" "Yes, sir," Alex replied, trying to sound confident. "And it also mentions you're quite knowledgeable, particularly academically. Is that correct?" Well, I performed adequately in school, Alex replied modestly, despite having graduated with honors. Mr. Harris sighed. All right, here's the situation. Agatha Cornwell is retiring next week, and someone needs to take over her column. That someone is you. Alex gulped nervously. Agatha Cornwell wasn't a journalist. She wrote the paper's daily advice column, Ask Aunt Agatha, which most of the staff found trivial and often ridiculed. Being tasked with writing it seemed like the worst job imaginable. Mr. Harris seemed to mistake Alex's reaction for eagerness. Now, don't get your hopes up. The column has one of the lowest readerships in the paper, but it does have a small loyal following. So the managing editor doesn't want to scrap it and cause a stir. We don't want Agatha's readers to know she's gone either. So keep it under wraps that you're the new Aunt Agatha. Got it? Alex nodded, understanding his instructions. The last thing he wanted was for anyone to find out he was now writing an advice column. He left the office feeling a mix of frustration and resignation. How would he ever face Megan and their friends if news got out? Upon returning home that evening, Megan asked why he looked so down. Alex fabricated a story about a tough day at work. Thankfully, she didn't press further, as she was eager to share news about her job. Senator Blake was quickly rising in political circles, and there was even speculation about him being considered for a vice presidential run in the future. Despite his own frustrations, Alex tried to share in Megan's excitement. However, deep down, he felt a growing sense of disconnect. Megan's career was soaring, while his own seemed to be stagnating. He couldn't help but feel left behind. The next Monday, Alex was directed to his new workspace. To his surprise, he discovered that he had a small office. It was a modest consolation for accepting such a demeaning job. As he settled behind the worn wooden desk, he felt completely lost. The room was a mess, with letters and papers scattered everywhere. He had no idea where to begin. Suddenly, there was a soft knock on the door. A young woman, about his age, peeked in. "Hi," she said. "I'm Jamie. I'm here to assist you." An assistant? Alex thought. Maybe this situation wasn't going to be as terrible as he had anticipated. "Hello, Jamie," Alex replied. "I'm Alex, and I'm completely at a loss here. Please come in and enlighten me about what's going on." With a bright smile, Jamie settled herself onto the small chair next to his desk and initiated a conversation. It didn't take long for Alex to gather that Jamie had only joined Agatha's team 3 months prior and wasn't initially enthusiastic about her role. "It's not exactly hard-hitting journalism," she admitted, "but it grows on you over time. There's a sense of fulfillment in helping all those people out there who are desperate for guidance." Jamie handed Alex a pile of Agatha's recent columns to peruse. As he read through them, he quickly formed a mental image of a kind-hearted elderly woman diligently working week after week to offer nuggets of wisdom and practical advice to her audience. Jamie then displayed a selection of the letters that arrived consistently every day. As Alex perused them, he couldn't help but notice that Aunt Agatha's inquiries were uniformly mundane and uninteresting. "What are these?" Alex inquired, pointing to a separate stack of letters. With a sheepish grin, Jamie replied, "Those are the questions Agatha chose not to address." She was rather uncomfortable discussing certain topics, particularly those she deemed peculiar or improper. Upon delving into the contents of the second stack, Alex swiftly realized that they had a considerable number of eccentric and risque readers. Turning to Jamie, he remarked with a grin, "While I may not be an expert in this field, I assure you we won't be evading inquiries about naughty subjects any longer. That's precisely the kind of content people are interested in, and we're going to deliver." Jamie gave him a concerned look. "I'm on board with that, but I'm uncertain about management's reaction. They've been accustomed to a more conservative approach for quite some time, if you catch my drift." "Listen," Alex said firmly, "I didn't seek out this assignment, but now that it's mine, I intend to handle it my way. If the boss isn't pleased, they can find someone else. Are you with me?" Jamie smiled. "All right, count me in." Luckily, Agatha had prepared her columns in advance, giving Alex a small backlog. This allowed him time to review letters from the "Do Not Answer" file and select ones for his first column. He deliberated on the style he aimed to adopt, intending to provide answers reflecting his beliefs with a touch of attitude. After a few attempts, he gained enough confidence to share excerpts of his initial draft with Jamie for feedback. Dear Aunt Agatha, I'm in a dilemma. I adore my wife, but recently I've come to terms with my bisexuality. I want to explore this side of me with other men. As long as I don't engage with other women, I don't see it as infidelity. What's your take? Switch hitter. Dear switch hitter, regardless of which side of the plate you swing from, it's still a breach of trust in your marriage. Dear Aunt Agatha, my husband and I have had a blissful 10 years together, but I recently strayed with a colleague. I'm consumed with guilt. Should I come clean and beg for forgiveness? Remorseful Roberta. Dear remorseful Roberta, confessing may alleviate your guilt, but it shifts the burden onto your husband. Keep it to yourself and demonstrate your remorse through actions, not words. The guilt serves as a reminder of your wrongdoing. Dear Aunt Agatha, a married coworker sent me an inappropriate photo. What should I do? Grossed out. Dear grossed out, why not forward the message to his wife and see what she thinks? I'm sure she'll have an opinion. Jamie glanced at Alex, a mischievous grin spreading across her face. I'm not sure how management will react, but they certainly can't accuse your column of being dull. As expected, later that afternoon, Mr. Harris barged into Alex's office, brandishing the submitted column. What on earth do you think you're doing, Alex? He bellowed. Aunt Agatha's readers are a bunch of delicate old ladies. You're going to upset them with this sort of content. Alex refused to back down. You tasked me with a job, and I completed it. Why not give it a chance before dismissing it? Mr. Harris snorted in frustration and stormed out, though he ultimately allowed the column to be published. Alongside the print edition, the paper also had an online version, providing them with instant feedback. Despite Jamie's earlier claim that Ask Aunt Agatha rarely elicited much response, Alex was surprised when she visited his office the following day and pulled up the online feedback for his column. It seemed his first attempt had stirred quite a reaction. While some readers criticized Aunt Agatha for being flippant about serious matters, others applauded her bold stances. Alex hadn't anticipated any response, so he felt apprehensive about the strong reactions he had incited. However, Jamie seemed thrilled. This is the most significant response I've ever seen to an Aunt Agatha column, she informed him. Still uncertain, Alex remarked, some of the feedback wasn't favorable towards what I said or how I said it. Who cares? Jamie exclaimed cheerfully. At least you got them thinking. In the following days, the reaction to the column mirrored the initial one. Comments poured in, both supportive and critical of the new tone and topics. Alex couldn't help but wonder how management would react to it all. After the initial shock of taking over the Ask Aunt Agatha column, Alex gradually settled into his new role. Each day brought a fresh stack of letters from readers seeking advice on a wide range of issues. With Jamie's assistance, he managed to navigate the sometimes bizarre, often mundane, but always interesting world of advice giving. Jamie quickly proved herself invaluable. She was not only efficient and organized but also had a knack for understanding the deeper issues hidden within the letters. Together, they developed a system for sorting and categorizing the letters, prioritizing those that seemed most urgent or intriguing. Their partnership flourished, and soon, the column started gaining more attention. The fresh, candid approach that Alex brought to Aunt Agatha's voice resonated with many readers. The online feedback was overwhelmingly positive, and the column's readership began to grow. However, not everyone was pleased with the changes. Some of the older, more conservative readers were outraged by the new, bolder Aunt Agatha. They sent scathing letters to the editor, complaining about the column's shift in tone and content. Mr. Harris, true to his word, allowed Alex to continue but kept a close eye on the situation. Meanwhile, Meghan's career was on an upward trajectory. She was becoming more involved in Senator Blake's campaigns and initiatives. Her job required long hours and frequent travel, which meant she was often away from home. Despite their best efforts, the physical and emotional distance between Alex and Meghan grew. Meghan's success was both a source of pride and frustration for Alex. He admired her dedication and achievements but couldn't help feeling a sense of inadequacy. His own career, while gaining some traction, was still far from where he had hoped it would be. He often found himself comparing his modest job to Megan's high-profile role, which only deepened his sense of frustration. One evening, Megan came home late from a campaign event. She was buzzing with excitement, talking non-stop about a speech Senator Blake had given and how well it had been received. Alex listened, trying to share in her enthusiasm, but he couldn't shake off the nagging feeling of being overshadowed. "Alex, you should have been there," Megan said, her eyes sparkling. "It was incredible. The energy, the crowd. Blake is really making a difference." "Yeah, it sounds amazing," Alex replied, forcing a smile. "I'm glad it went well." Megan looked at him, her expression softening. "I know things have been tough for you at work. But you're doing great with the column. People are talking about it." "Thanks, Megan. I appreciate that," Alex said, though her words did little to ease his feelings of inadequacy. As the weeks went by, Alex continued to pour his energy into the column. He and Jamie developed a close working relationship, often staying late to brainstorm new ideas and themes. They introduced special editions of the column, focusing on specific topics like relationships, career advice, and personal growth. Their efforts paid off. The column's readership continued to climb, and it started receiving attention from other media outlets. One day, Alex received a call from a well-known magazine that wanted to do a feature on Ask Aunt Agatha and its new direction. "Jamie, can you believe it?" Alex exclaimed, barely able to contain his excitement. "A national magazine wants to feature our column." "That's fantastic, Alex," Jamie replied, her face lighting up with a smile. "All our hard work is paying off." The feature brought even more attention to the column. Alex was invited to appear on a few local radio shows to discuss the column and his approach to giving advice. For the first time in a long while, he felt a sense of professional fulfillment. Despite his growing success, the strain on his marriage with Megan persisted. She was often too busy to notice the changes in his career, and their conversations became increasingly superficial. Alex missed the deep, meaningful discussions they used to have during their college years. One Friday evening, after a particularly exhausting week, Alex came home to find Megan sitting on the couch, her laptop open on her lap. She barely looked up as he entered. "Hey," Alex said, dropping his bag by the door. "How was your day?" "Busy," Megan replied without looking up. "We have a big fundraiser coming up, and there's so much to do." "Sounds intense," Alex said, feeling the familiar pang of disconnect. "Yeah, it is," Megan said, finally looking up at him. "How about you? How was your day?" "It was good," Alex said, sitting down next to her. "Actually, it was more than good. The column got a huge boost from the magazine feature. And I got invited to speak on a couple of radio shows." "That's great, Alex," Megan said, giving him a brief smile before turning back to her laptop. Alex felt a surge of frustration. He wanted to share his excitement, to have Megan truly engage with him, but it seemed like her mind was always somewhere else. "Megan, can we talk?" Alex said, his voice tinged with desperation. Megan looked up, sensing the seriousness in his tone. "Of course. What's on your mind?" "I feel like we're drifting apart," Alex began. "We barely spend any time together anymore. When we do, it feels like we're just going through the motions." Megan sighed, closing her laptop. "I know things have been tough, Alex. My job is demanding, and I know it takes up a lot of my time. But it's important to me. Blake's work is important." "I understand that," Alex said, struggling to keep his voice steady. "But our marriage is important too. I feel like I'm losing you." Megan's eyes softened, and she reached out to take his hand. "I don't want you to feel that way. I love you, Alex. We just need to find a balance." Alex nodded, though he wasn't entirely convinced. "Yeah, we do. I just hope we can." Despite their conversation, things didn't improve. Megan's job continued to demand more of her time, and Alex found himself increasingly isolated. He threw himself into his work, using the column as an outlet for his frustrations and emotions. One day, as he was going through the stack of letters with Jamie, he came across one that made his blood run cold. The letter was from a woman who described a situation strikingly similar to his own. She wrote about her husband, who was a good man but not ambitious enough for her taste. She confessed to having an affair with a powerful man who could offer her the life she desired. "Jamie, read this," Alex said, handing her the letter. Jamie read the letter and looked up at Alex, her expression one of concern. "Alex, this sounds a lot like." "I know," Alex said, his voice barely above a whisper. "It sounds just like Megan." Jamie placed a hand on his shoulder. "Alex, I'm so sorry." Alex took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. "I need to find out the truth." Jamie nodded. "What can I do to help?" "I'm going to confront her," Alex said, his mind racing. "But I need proof. Can you help me go through her emails and messages? See if there's anything that confirms my suspicions?" "Of course," Jamie said, her voice firm with determination. "We'll find out the truth." That evening, Alex waited for Megan to come home. When she finally walked through the door, he felt a mix of anger and sadness. He needed to know the truth, but he dreaded what he might find. "Megan, we need to talk," Alex said, his voice trembling slightly. Megan looked at him, her brow furrowing with concern. "What's wrong, Alex?" "I found something today," Alex said, trying to keep his emotions in check. "A letter from a reader. It described a situation that sounds a lot like ours. A wife, unhappy with her husband's lack of ambition, having an affair with a powerful man." Megan's face went pale. "Alex, what are you saying?" "I'm saying I think you're having an affair," Alex said, his voice breaking. "With Senator Blake." Megan's eyes filled with tears. "Alex, it's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is," Alex said, desperation creeping into his voice. "Because right now, I don't know what to believe." Megan took a deep breath, tears streaming down her face. "I never wanted to hurt you, Alex. Blake and it just happened. I was drawn to his ambition, his power. But I never stopped loving you." Alex felt like the ground had been pulled out from under him. He sank onto the couch, his mind reeling. "How could you do this to us, Megan?" "I don't know," Megan sobbed. "I was selfish. I thought I could have it all. I never meant for it to go this far." Alex looked at her, feeling a mixture of anger and sorrow. "I don't know if I can forgive you." Megan reached out to him, but he pulled away. "Please, Alex, let's try to fix this." Alex shook his head, his heart breaking. "I need time to think." The days that followed were a blur for Alex. He threw himself into his work, using it as a way to numb the pain. Jamie was a constant source of support, helping him navigate the difficult emotions he was experiencing. Megan moved out temporarily, giving Alex the space he needed. She sent him messages, trying to explain and apologize, but Alex couldn't bring himself to respond. The betrayal was too fresh, too painful. One evening, as Alex was working late, Jamie brought him a cup of coffee. She sat down across from him, her expression filled with concern. "Alex, you can't keep bottling this up," Jamie said gently. "You need to talk about it." Alex sighed, rubbing his temples. "I don't even know where to start." "Start with how you're feeling," Jamie suggested. "It's okay to be angry, to be hurt. You've been through a lot." Alex looked at her, feeling a rush of gratitude. "Thank you, Jamie, for everything. I don't know what I'd do without you." Jamie reached out and squeezed his hand. "You don't have to go through this alone, Alex. I'm here for you." As the weeks went by, Alex and Megan began to discuss their future. It was a difficult, painful process, but they both knew that their marriage could never be the same. They decided to separate, each needing time to heal and figure out what they wanted. Despite the pain, Alex found solace in his work and his friendship with Jamie. He began to see her in a new light, realizing how much she meant to him. Their bond grew stronger, and Alex started to feel a glimmer of hope for the future. With Megan out of the picture, Alex focused on rebuilding his life. He poured his energy into the Ask Aunt Agatha column, which continued to gain popularity. Jamie was his rock, always there to support and encourage him. One day, Alex received a call from a major publishing house. They were interested in turning the Ask Aunt Agatha column into a book, filled with advice and insights from the column's best letters. "Jamie, can you believe it?" Alex said, his excitement palpable. They want to turn the column into a book. That's amazing, Alex. Jamie replied, her eyes shining with pride. You deserve this. As they worked on the book together, Alex and Jamie grew even closer. They spent long hours discussing the letters, selecting the best ones, and crafting the narrative for the book. Through it all, their connection deepened, and Alex realized that he had found something special with Jamie. One evening, after a long day of work, Alex and Jamie sat in his office, surrounded by piles of letters and drafts. Alex looked at Jamie, his heart swelling with gratitude and affection. Jamie, I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done, Alex said softly. You've been my rock through all of this. Jamie smiled, her eyes filled with warmth. You don't need to thank me, Alex. I'm just glad I could be here for you. As the final manuscript for the book came together, Alex felt a sense of accomplishment and hope. He had weathered the storm, and though the scars of Megan's betrayal would always remain, he had found a new beginning with Jamie. As Alex continued to immerse himself in his work, he couldn't shake off the nagging feeling that something was amiss. Megan's constant absences and her seemingly endless enthusiasm for Senator Blake's career had always bothered him, but now it was impossible to ignore. One evening, while sorting through letters for the column, Alex stumbled upon an email that caught his attention. The subject line read, "Help. I'm in love with someone powerful." His heart raced as he opened the email, fearing what he might find. Dear Aunt Agatha, I'm in a dilemma. I'm deeply in love with a powerful man who can offer me the life I've always dreamed of. However, I'm married to a good man who just doesn't have the same ambition or drive. I don't want to hurt him, but I feel like I'm meant for something more. What should I do? Sincerely, Conflicted in New York. Alex's hands trembled as he read the email. The situation described was eerily similar to his own fears about Megan. He felt a cold knot of dread in his stomach. Could this be a coincidence, or was Megan trying to reach out in a veiled manner? He printed the email and placed it in his bag, deciding that he needed to confront Megan with his suspicions. But before he did, he needed more proof. He couldn't accuse her based on an anonymous email. The next day, Alex enlisted Jamie's help in searching for more clues. They spent hours going through Megan's social media profiles, emails, and messages, looking for anything that might confirm their suspicions. It was a delicate task, and Alex felt a pang of guilt for invading Megan's privacy, but he needed to know the truth. As they delved deeper, they discovered a series of emails between Megan and Senator Blake. The correspondence started innocently enough, discussing work-related matters, but gradually became more personal and intimate. The tone of the messages indicated a relationship that went beyond professional boundaries. Jamie, look at this, Alex said, pointing to an email from Senator Blake that read, I miss you already. Can't wait to see you tonight. Jamie frowned. This doesn't look good, Alex. It's pretty clear there's something more going on between them. Alex felt a surge of anger and betrayal. I can't believe she would do this to us. We need to be sure before you confront her, Jamie said gently. Let's see if we can find more concrete evidence. They continued their search and found several more incriminating emails, as well as messages on Megan's phone that confirmed she had been meeting Senator Blake outside of work hours. The evidence was overwhelming, and Alex knew he couldn't put off the confrontation any longer. That evening, Alex waited for Megan to come home. He had rehearsed what he would say, but now that the moment was here, he felt a mix of anger, sadness, and fear. When Megan finally walked through the door, she looked exhausted. Hey, Alex, she said, dropping her bag by the door. What's for dinner? Megan, we need to talk, Alex said, his voice steady but filled with emotion. Megan looked at him, sensing the seriousness in his tone. What's wrong? I found something today, Alex began, trying to keep his emotions in check. I found emails between you and Senator Blake. It's clear you're having an affair. Megan's face went pale, and she took a step back. Alex, it's not what you think. Then tell me what it is, Alex said, his voice trembling. Because right now, it looks like you've been lying to me. Megan took a deep breath, tears welling up in her eyes. I never meant for it to happen. It just did. Blake and we have a connection. But it doesn't mean I don't love you. Alex felt a surge of anger. A connection? You're cheating on me, Megan. How could you do this? I'm sorry, Megan sobbed. I was drawn to his ambition, his power. I got caught up in it. But it doesn't change how I feel about you. Alex shook his head, feeling his world crumble around him. I don't know if I can forgive you for this. Megan reached out to him, but he pulled away. Please, Alex, let's try to work through this. I need time to think, Alex said, his heart breaking. I need to figure out what I want. In the days that followed, Alex felt like he was living in a fog. He went through the motions of work and daily life, but his mind was consumed with thoughts of Megan's betrayal. He couldn't believe that the woman he had loved and trusted had been unfaithful. Megan moved out temporarily, staying with a friend to give Alex the space he needed. She sent him messages, trying to explain and apologize, but Alex couldn't bring himself to respond. The hurt was too deep, the betrayal too fresh. Jamie was a constant source of support during this difficult time. She listened to Alex's fears and frustrations, offering a shoulder to cry on and words of encouragement. Their bond grew stronger, and Alex found solace in their friendship. One evening, as they were working late on the column, Jamie brought Alex a cup of coffee. She sat down across from him, her expression filled with concern. Alex, you can't keep bottling this up, Jamie said gently. You need to talk about it. Alex sighed, rubbing his temples. I don't even know where to start. Start with how you're feeling, Jamie suggested. It's okay to be angry, to be hurt. You've been through a lot. Alex looked at her, feeling a rush of gratitude. Thank you, Jamie, for everything. I don't know what I'd do without you. Jamie reached out and squeezed his hand. You don't have to go through this alone, Alex. I'm here for you. As the weeks went by, Alex and Megan began to discuss their future. It was a difficult, painful process, but they both knew that their marriage could never be the same. They decided to separate, each needing time to heal and figure out what they wanted. Despite the pain, Alex found solace in his work and his friendship with Jamie. He began to see her in a new light, realizing how much she meant to him. Their bond grew stronger, and Alex started to feel a glimmer of hope for the future. Alex's discovery of Megan's affair was devastating, but it also ignited a fire within him. He was determined to expose Senator Blake's hypocrisy and bring the truth to light. With Jamie's support, he began to formulate a plan. They decided to enlist the help of Tom Richards, the seasoned political writer at the newspaper. Tom had a reputation for uncovering scandals and was known for his meticulous attention to detail. Alex trusted that Tom would handle the story with the seriousness it deserved. Tom, I need your help, Alex said one afternoon as they sat in Tom's cluttered office. I have evidence that Senator Blake is having an affair with my wife. I want to expose him. Tom looked at Alex with a mixture of sympathy and determination. This is serious, Alex. If we're going to take down a senator, we need to do it right. Do you have solid evidence? Alex handed Tom the printouts of the emails and messages. It's all here. I need your expertise to make sure this story is airtight. Tom nodded, reviewing the documents. We'll need more than just these emails. We'll need photographs, recordings, and testimonies. It's going to be a long and difficult process, but I'm with you. Tom and Alex devised a plan to gather irrefutable evidence of the affair. They decided to set up a sting operation, using surveillance equipment to capture Blake and Megan together. It was risky, but they were determined to see it through. Jamie played a crucial role in the operation. Her tech-savvy skills were instrumental in setting up hidden cameras and audio recording devices. She also helped Alex keep track of Megan's schedule, ensuring they knew when and where to place the equipment. The first attempt was nerve-wracking. They set up cameras in a hotel room where Megan and Blake were scheduled to meet. Alex's heart pounded as he watched the live feed from a nearby van. He felt a mix of anger, sadness, and determination as he waited for them to arrive. When Blake and Megan finally entered the room, Alex's stomach churned. He watched as they embraced, their actions confirming the affair. The cameras captured everything, providing the evidence they needed. Tom and Alex reviewed the footage, making sure it was clear and indisputable. This is it, Tom said, his voice steady. We've got him. With the evidence in hand, Tom and Alex prepared to confront Senator Blake. They arranged for a meeting at the newspaper office, under the guise of an interview. Blake, unaware of their true intentions, agreed to the meeting. On the day of the confrontation, Alex felt a mixture of anticipation and dread. He knew that this was the moment of truth, the culmination of their efforts to expose Blake's hypocrisy. As Blake entered the office, Alex and Tom greeted him with professional courtesy. They began the interview, asking standard questions about his political career and future plans. Blake seemed at ease, unaware of the storm about to hit. "Senator Blake," Tom said, his tone shifting. "We've received some troubling information regarding your conduct outside of your professional duties. We have evidence that you've been having an affair with one of your aides." Blake's expression changed, his confidence faltering. "I don't know what you're talking about." Tom placed the printouts of the emails and the footage on the table. "These are copies of emails between you and Megan. And this is footage from a recent meeting you had at a hotel. Care to explain?" Blake's face turned red with anger and embarrassment. "This is an invasion of privacy. You have no right." "We have every right," Tom interrupted. "You're a public figure, Senator. Your actions have consequences. We're going to publish this story, and the public will know the truth." Blake's shoulders slumped in defeat. He knew he was cornered. "What do you want?" "We want the truth," Alex said, his voice steady. "We want you to admit your wrongdoing and step down from your position." Blake looked at Alex, his eyes filled with resentment. "You'll ruin me. You did this to yourself," Alex replied. "It's time to face the consequences." The story broke the next day, sending shockwaves through the political community. The headline read, "Senator Blake's affair exposed. Hypocrisy and betrayal." The article detailed Blake's affair with Megan, including the evidence they had gathered. The public reaction was swift and unforgiving. Blake's political career was effectively over. He held a press conference, where he tearfully admitted to the affair and announced his resignation. The once promising senator was now a disgraced figure, his reputation in tatters. Megan's life was also turned upside down. She was hounded by the press, her private life exposed for all to see. She lost her job and faced public scorn and humiliation. Alex watched from a distance, feeling a mix of satisfaction and sadness. The woman he had once loved was now a stranger to him. Despite the turmoil, Alex found a sense of closure. He had faced the betrayal head-on and had brought the truth to light. It was a painful process, but it allowed him to move forward with his life. With the affair behind him, Alex focused on rebuilding his life. He poured his energy into the Ask Aunt Agatha column, which continued to gain popularity. Jamie was by his side every step of the way, her support and friendship a constant source of strength. One day, Alex received a call from a major publishing house. They were interested in turning the Ask Aunt Agatha column into a book, filled with advice and insights from the column's best letters. "Jamie, can you believe it?" Alex said, his excitement palpable. "They want to turn the column into a book." "That's amazing, Alex," Jamie replied, her eyes shining with pride. "You deserve this." As they worked on the book together, Alex and Jamie grew even closer. They spent long hours discussing the letters, selecting the best ones, and crafting the narrative for the book. Through it all, their connection deepened, and Alex realized that he had found something special with Jamie. One evening, after a long day of work, Alex and Jamie sat in his office, surrounded by piles of letters and drafts. Alex looked at Jamie, his heart swelling with gratitude and affection. "Jamie, I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done," Alex said softly. "You've been my rock through all of this." Jamie smiled, her eyes filled with warmth. "You don't need to thank me, Alex. I'm just glad I could be here for you." As the final manuscript for the book came together, Alex felt a sense of accomplishment and hope. He had weathered the storm, and though the scars of Megan's betrayal would always remain, he had found a new beginning with Jamie. Alex's journey had been filled with heartbreak and betrayal, but it had also led him to new opportunities and a deeper understanding of himself. He had exposed a corrupt politician, turned a struggling advice column into a success, and found love and friendship in unexpected places. As he looked towards the future, Alex knew that there would be more challenges ahead. But with Jamie by his side and a renewed sense of purpose, he was ready to face whatever came his way. With the decision to expose Senator Blake's affair firmly in place, Alex, Jamie, and Tom Richards worked tirelessly to ensure their plan was foolproof. They needed to gather irrefutable evidence and time their revelation perfectly to maximize its impact. The stakes were high, and they knew they only had one shot to get it right. "We need more than just emails and photos," Tom said, leaning over the desk where the evidence was spread out. "We need recordings, first-hand accounts, and maybe even a few more compromising photos." Jamie nodded. "I can help set up the equipment. We should bug Megan's phone and Blake's office. It's risky, but if we can catch them in the act, it will be undeniable." Alex felt a mix of determination and dread. He wanted to expose Blake's hypocrisy, but he also knew it would mean dragging Megan through the mud. "Let's do it," he said, his voice firm. "We need to show the world what kind of person Blake really is." Jamie proved to be a technical wizard. She managed to bug both Megan's phone and Blake's office without arousing suspicion. Over the next few weeks, they collected hours of conversations and dozens of messages. It was painstaking work, but the payoff was worth it. One evening, as Alex and Jamie were reviewing the latest recordings, they hit the jackpot. Blake and Megan were discussing their affair openly, making plans to meet at a hotel and expressing their feelings for each other. "This is it," Alex said, his heart pounding. "We've got them." Tom agreed. "We need to move quickly. Let's get some photos of their next meeting and then we'll have everything we need." They planned to capture Blake and Megan together at the hotel. It was a high-risk operation, but Alex was determined to see it through. The night of the sting operation, Alex, Jamie, and Tom waited in a van parked near the hotel. Jamie had set up hidden cameras in the hotel room and was monitoring the live feed on a laptop. "They're on their way up," Jamie whispered, watching the screen intently. Alex's stomach churned with a mix of anger and anticipation. He watched as Blake and Megan entered the room, unaware that they were being recorded. They embraced, kissed, and began talking about their future together. "This is it," Tom said, snapping photos from the live feed. "We've got everything we need." When Blake and Megan finally left the hotel, Alex felt a sense of grim satisfaction. The evidence was irrefutable. Now it was time to confront them and reveal the truth to the world. The next day, Alex and Tom arranged a meeting with Senator Blake at the newspaper office. Blake believed it was a routine interview, unaware of the storm about to hit him. As Blake entered the office, Alex and Tom greeted him with professional courtesy. They began the interview with standard questions about his political career and future plans. Blake seemed at ease, confident in his responses. "Senator Blake," Tom said, his tone shifting. "We've received some troubling information regarding your conduct outside of your professional duties. We have evidence that you've been having an affair with one of your aides." Blake's expression changed, his confidence faltering. "I don't know what you're talking about." Tom placed the printouts of the emails, messages, and photos on the table. "These are copies of emails between you and Megan. And this is footage from a recent meeting you had at a hotel. Care to explain?" Blake's face turned red with anger and embarrassment. "This is an invasion of privacy. You have no right." "We have every right," Tom interrupted. "You're a public figure, Senator. Your actions have consequences. We're going to publish this story, and the public will know the truth." Blake's shoulders slumped in defeat. He knew he was cornered. "What do you want?" "We want the truth," Alex said, his voice steady. "We want you to admit your wrongdoing and step down from your position." Blake looked at Alex, his eyes filled with resentment. "You'll ruin me. You did this to yourself," Alex replied. "It's time to face the consequences." The story broke the next day, sending shockwaves through the political community. The headline read, interview on a popular talk show garnered sympathy from the public and further cemented Blake's downfall. Meghan struggled to cope with the intense scrutiny. Paparazzi followed her every move, and she was forced to move out of their apartment to escape the constant attention. She stayed with friends, but the relentless media pressure took a toll on her mental health. Alex, too, felt the impact of the exposé. While he had gained professional recognition and respect for his role in the investigation, the personal cost was high. He was haunted by the betrayal and the loss of his marriage, and he found it difficult to move on. Despite the chaos, Alex tried to rebuild his life. He continued to focus on the Ask Aunt Agatha column, which had become more popular than ever. Jamie remained his constant support, helping him navigate the challenges and uncertainties of his new reality. One day, as Alex was sorting through a fresh pile of letters, he came across one that stood out. It was from a reader who had followed the exposé and wanted to share their own story of betrayal and recovery. Dear Aunt Agatha, I recently went through a very public and painful betrayal. Like you, I struggled to understand how someone I loved could do this to me. But reading your column has given me hope. You've shown me that it's possible to find strength and resilience even in the darkest times. Thank you for sharing your story and helping others find their way. Sincerely, hopeful in Brooklyn. Alex felt a surge of emotion as he read the letter. It was a reminder that his work had a real impact on people's lives, and it gave him a renewed sense of purpose. With the affair behind him, Alex focused on rebuilding his life. He poured his energy into the Ask Aunt Agatha column, which continued to gain popularity. Jamie was by his side every step of the way, her support and friendship a constant source of strength. One day, Alex received a call from a major publishing house. They were interested in turning the Ask Aunt Agatha column into a book, filled with advice and insights from the column's best letters. Jamie, can you believe it? Alex said, his excitement palpable. They want to turn the column into a book. That's amazing, Alex. Jamie replied, her eyes shining with pride. You deserve this. As they worked on the book together, Alex and Jamie grew even closer. They spent long hours discussing the letters, selecting the best ones, and crafting the narrative for the book. Through it all, their connection deepened, and Alex realized that he had found something special with Jamie. One evening, after a long day of work, Alex and Jamie sat in his office, surrounded by piles of letters and drafts. Alex looked at Jamie, his heart swelling with gratitude and affection. Jamie, I don't know how to thank you for everything you've done, Alex said softly. You've been my rock through all of this. Jamie smiled, her eyes filled with warmth. You don't need to thank me, Alex. I'm just glad I could be here for you. As the final manuscript for the book came together, Alex felt a sense of accomplishment and hope. He had weathered the storm, and though the scars of Meghan's betrayal would always remain, he had found a new beginning with Jamie. With the book project nearing completion, Alex felt a renewed sense of purpose and excitement. The journey from betrayal to healing had been long and painful, but it had also led him to discover new strengths and possibilities. The Ask Aunt Agatha book was released to critical acclaim, and Alex found himself invited to various talk shows and book signings. He shared his story of overcoming betrayal and finding a new path, inspiring others to do the same. Jamie was always by his side, offering her unwavering support. Their relationship deepened, and Alex realized that he had found a partner who truly understood and appreciated him. One evening, as they walked along the Brooklyn Bridge, Alex turned to Jamie and took her hand. Jamie, I've been thinking a lot about the future, and I can't imagine it without you. Jamie smiled, her eyes sparkling with love. I feel the same way, Alex. We've been through so much together, and I know we can face anything that comes our way. Alex felt a sense of peace and contentment as they looked out at the city skyline. The future was uncertain, but with Jamie by his side, he knew that they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. As we wrap up Unveiling the Deception, a journey through the heartbreak of a cheating wife, we've witnessed Alex's remarkable transformation from a man shattered by betrayal to someone who finds new purpose and strength. Through the pain and heartache, Alex uncovers not only the truth about his wife's infidelity but also his own resilience and capacity for growth. With Jamie by his side, He navigates the challenges of rebuilding his life and career, ultimately discovering a deeper, more fulfilling love. Thank you for joining us on this emotional journey. Be sure to subscribe for more stories of inspiration and resilience.